Hello everyone, welcome back to yet another session of English class. Aren't you excited to go back to your schools? Yes, very good. But my dear children, don't forget SMS. Sanitize your hands, wear your mask and keep social distancing. Today we are beginning our third unit, which is titled as Man and Media. Now here is a picture displayed on the screen. Please have a look at this picture. There are some icons in that tree. Can you identify what those icons are? Here is a video of one of your friends which will help you to identify what these icons are.
In this picture, we can see so many icons such as TV, laptop, internet, mobile network, mobile, camera, screen recorder, torch, settings, message, music, etc. This is a media tree.
Yes, Krista, excellent. Now, all of you please turn out to page number 80 in your textbook. Here is another picture given in your textbook which shows the evolution of communication. Here are some videos. Let's listen to them.
What do these pictures tell us about? In this picture, we can see various types of communication which was there since ancient times. We can see a bird which was used as a medium of communication. Later, animals like donkey, horse, yak, deer were also used passing information from one part of the territory to another part of the world. After a certain point of time, when developments happened in the communication, railways as well as airways also came into the picture. As means of communication, radio and television became a part of our day-to-day life as a means of communication, and we also have human beings carrying information one part of the world to another part of the world, who are being called as the postman. Now as the latest new trend have telephones, mobile phones, internet, where you can pass the information by just dialing the number or pressing the buttons in a flash of second.
This picture tells us about the communication in olden days and modern days. Communication in olden days was done using animals, birds, radio, train and aeroplane, and many other old gadgets. People used to send letters to their relatives and friends. They had to travel to long distances to meet their friends and relatives. It was a little bit complex kind of communication system. Communication in modern days is done with mobile phones, television, computers, etc. The messages sent through SMS, email, voice, etc. People do not need to travel to meet their relatives and friends. It is an easy communication system.
Very good, Alan and Anna. Now, here is a video for you. This video will show us the evolution of communication. Let us watch and understand that.
What's the future of telecoms? Here's a brief history of how it all started. Once upon a time, smoke signals were used to communicate to neighbouring villages, although if it was foggy that day, nobody could see a thing. The carrier pigeon was discovered whilst training pigeons in Egypt. They became so popular that one pigeon went on to win an award. Yes, a pigeon won an award. Samuel B. Morse discovered that you could send messages through an electrical code system. The problem was, you had to be able to read code, and if you couldn't, you were pretty much screwed. When it came to the electric telephone, there were several founders who all claimed to have discovered it. But Alexander Graham Bell was the first to be awarded the patent. His friends thought it was a joke at first, but eventually they all phoned to congratulate him. farm boy Philip Farnsworth drew inspiration from the ploughing fields to create what we now use as a television. But despite his groundbreaking invention, he only actually appeared on the television once, as a mystery guest. The digital computer was a revolutionary breakthrough created as a direct replacement for doing manual calculations, giving us more time to make tea and fewer reasons to use our brains. The birth of the internet revolutionized telecoms and pioneered the way for global communication. Over 3 decades later, we've become obsessed with the thing and can't seem to function much without.
Let us read and discuss the passage that tells us about the evolution of messages. The story of messages. Nowadays, when we want to communicate, we either email a person or send an SMS. Everything happens by the clicking of a mouse or the pressing of a few buttons. It was not so in the near past. Most people wrote letters, put them in an envelope, got them stamped, dropped them in a post box, and waited patiently to hear from the other person. Way back in the 1850s, letters went on horseback from the east to the west of America. One freight company decided to speed things up by hiring 80 men to take the mail to the west on horseback. In 1860, the Pony Express was formed. The riders for the Pony Express were chosen for their lightweight as well as their riding ability. Most of them were young boys. The route they undertook was a rugged one. It went from St. Joseph, Missouri to Sacramento, California, a distance of over 1,800 miles. Each rider rode a total of 75 miles, changing ponies at different stations. The mail was carried in 4 leather boxes which were attached to a special saddle blanket thrown over the saddle. The changing of ponies was done in 2 minutes. The speed was a bonus because it cut the average delivery time from several weeks to about 10 days. The fastest trip was made in 7 days and 17 hours. This record was set by the rider carrying President Abraham Lincoln's first message to the US Congress. The poor riders had to ride through unknown terrains. Some routes exposed them to attacks from Red Indians and led them through dangerous territories. Newspaper advertisements for riders listed one important requirement: orphans preferred. Though exciting, the Pony Express was a short-lived experiment. It lasted for only 19 months. By then, there was a telegraph line from coast to coast. This was definitely a faster way of sending messages. But the invention of the radio brought in a great revolutionary change in the field of communication. Let us come back to the history of Pony Express formation. Can you tell me under what circumstance was Pony Express formed? Yes, very good. In the earlier times, people had to wait for such a long time to send and receive a message. പണ്ട് കാലത്ത് ആൾക്കാർക്ക് ഒരു മെസ്സേജ് അയക്കാനും അവർക്ക് അതിനൊരു മറുപടി കിട്ടാനും ഒരുപാട് സമയം കാത്തു നിൽക്കേണ്ടി വന്നിരുന്നു. നമ്മൾ ഇന്ന് കാണുന്ന ഈ ഒരു ആധുനിക ലോകത്തായിരുന്നില്ല പണ്ട് കാലത്ത് ആൾക്കാർ ജീവിച്ചിരുന്നത്. ഇന്ന് കാണുന്ന ആധുനിക സൗകര്യങ്ങളൊന്നും അന്ന് ലഭ്യമായിരുന്നില്ല. So under this circumstance, the Pony Express was formed. In the 1850s, letters were sent on horseback from the east to the west of America. It was in this particular situation that a freight company decided to speed up things by hiring 80 men for sending their messages. Now, did you notice the word freight? What is the meaning of the word freight? You can refer to the glossary given in your textbook. Freight means a company which sends goods from one place to another. നമുക്ക് ആവശ്യമായിട്ടുള്ള ചരക്കുകളൊക്കെ ഒരു സ്ഥലത്ത് നിന്നും മറ്റൊരു സ്ഥലത്തേക്ക് കയറ്റി വിടുന്ന ആ ഒരു കമ്പനിയെയാണ് ഫ്രീറ്റ് കമ്പനി എന്നതുകൊണ്ട് ഉദ്ദേശിക്കുന്നത്. The Pony Express was thus formed in 1860. From the beginning times onwards, the riders for the Pony Express were selected on the basis of their lightweight and their riding ability. What might be the reason for selecting lightweight people? Yes, very good. Because they wanted to cover long distances on horseback. And apart from this, the riders who were selected for Pony Express were mainly orphans. And they were young people. What might be the reason for selecting orphans? Yes, just think about it. Yes, exactly. Because if they are orphans, there would not be anyone who will get concerned about them. So, since there was a risk factor in this Pony Express, they always prefer young and orphans. The path of the Pony Express was a rugged one. What do you mean by the word rugged? Yes, വളരെ ദുർഘടം പിടിച്ച വഴികളിലൂടെയായിരുന്നു അവർക്ക് യാത്ര ചെയ്യേണ്ടിയിരുന്നത്. So it was always very difficult and risk for them to travel in that particular way. And the Pony Express, they always traveled from St. Joseph, Missouri to Sacramento in California, and in a stretch they always used to cover 1,800 miles. Even though the speed was a bonus for them, they could complete the journey within 10 days. But even though the situations were all favorable, this Pony Express was a short-lived experiment. Can you think about the reasons why this Pony Express was a short-lived experiment? Yes, because when they were traveling from one place to another, they always had to face some attacks from the people such as Red Indians. So it was difficult for them to complete the journey. And apart from that, it was difficult to find out young orphan ones who are ready for this great task. Apart from all these difficulties, there were another two reasons which led to the end of Pony Express. That was the invention of telegraph line and radio, which brought about a great revolutionary change in the field of communication. Now, here is a video in front of you which tells us about the history of Pony Express.
The Pony Express, the Wild West, 1860 to 1861. By the mid-19th century, Britain had developed a highly efficient postal service that could deliver mail anywhere in the country in just a few days. This was helped by the fact that Britain, as a nation, was from one end to the other just a modest 830 miles long. Whereas in the United States, it was much harder to get messages across the country due to the vast distances involved and the fact that it was still very much a frontier country. The United States measured from coast to coast a colossal 2,500 to 3,500 miles. Each Pony Express rider would average around 10 miles per hour and would travel between staging posts that were located roughly 25 miles apart. There they would hand over their saddlebags full of mail to a fresh horse and rider, who would then gallop off to the next staging post to do the same thing. By doing this, they could easily cover 3 or 4 times more distance every day than a traditional stagecoach ever could. They started to operate their express postal service on April 3, 1860. It ran from St. Joseph in Missouri to Sacramento on the Pacific Coast, a distance of some 1,900 miles, with a guarantee to do this in just 10 days. Given a Bible and had to swear an oath to be faithful to their duties, not swear or drink alcohol on the job, and not to fight other employees. During its brief operational period, the primary reason why the service was so short-lived was that it was quickly overtaken by the new technology of the telegraph that started to operate a similar transcontinental message service in 1861, meaning that a message that once took days by the Pony Express now just took a matter of minutes. Additionally, the Pony Express service was beginning to be heavily disrupted by the start of the American Civil War. Most of the investors in the Pony Express were financially ruined when the company collapsed, and many would later die in poverty because...
Now, here is the first task for you. Take page number 82. Look at the question given there in your textbook. Do you know how messages were conveyed in your locality in the earlier times? You can collect this information from your elders and parents. Frame any 5 questions that you would ask your parents or elders to collect this information. Write these 5 questions and answers in your notebook. Don't forget to send them to your teacher. Here is an audio for you. Listen carefully and you have to identify and tell me to what communication is this music related to. Yes, very good. This is the most popular Agashawani tune. Now, all of you please turn on to your second chapter titled The Radio in page number 82. Radio. The radio is just over 100 years old. It was Marconi who invented an instrument to send the wireless message. He sent the first radio message in 1895. This marked the birth of the radio. It was in fact developed from the telegraph, which was invented by Cook and Wheatstone in 1835. Later, it was perfected by Morse. The word telegraph is derived from two Greek words, telos, which means distant, and grapho, which means to write. The invention of the telephone by Alexander Graham Bell in the year 1876 was another revolutionary step in the field of communication. It became more popular because the person at the other end could hear the speaker's voice. Radio is almost 100 years old. It was invented by Marconi and the first wireless message was sent in the year 1895. It was actually developed from telegraph, which was invented by Cook and Wheatstone in the year 1835. Now, can you identify one sentence from the chapter which tells you about the origin of the word telegraph? Yes, very good. Look at the two Greek words. The first word is telos, which means distant, and the second Greek word is grapho, which means to write. So from these two Greek words, the word telegraph was formed. Now, soon after the invention of telegraph and radio, next comes the most popular means of communication that we are still using nowadays, that is telephone. Telephone was actually invented by Alexander Graham Bell. But compared to telegraph and radio, do you think that telephone was more popular? Yes. What could be the reason for that? Exactly. The telephone was more popular because the speaker at the one end could hear the sound of the other person. So that is the reason why telephone was more popular than telegraph and radio. Look at this cartoon given in your textbook. What idea do you get? Do you think that all the people have the same taste in watching the television programs? Just think about it. ഈ കാർട്ടൂണിൽ കാണുന്ന എല്ലാ വ്യക്തികൾക്കും ടി വി പ്രോഗ്രാംസ് കാണാൻ ഒരേ താല്പര്യമാണോ? ഒരേ പ്രോഗ്രാംസ് കാണാനാണോ അവരെ താല്പര്യപ്പെടുന്നത്? ഒന്ന് ആലോചിച്ച് നോക്കൂ.
In this cartoon, we can see so many characters who are busy in watching TV, but all of them want to watch different TV shows. Grandmother likes to watch Ramayana. The boy might want to watch the cricket match. All the family members do not have the same taste in watching the TV programs. The television is one of the miracles of science. It is not an idiot box, but a magic carpet.
ഇതിന്റെ കൂടെ തന്നെ നിങ്ങളുടെ വീട്ടിലെ കാര്യങ്ങളൊന്ന് ആലോചിച്ച് നോക്കൂ. നിങ്ങൾ എല്ലാവരും ഒരേ പ്രോഗ്രാം കാണാൻ ആഗ്രഹിക്കുന്നവരാണോ? Now we are getting to the next chapter where we are going to witness the most popular media, that is television, which brings about the whole world in front of us. Let's go through the chapter and listen carefully. Television. The television is one of the miracles of science. It is not an idiot box, but a magic carpet. Do you know who invented the television? It was a Scotsman named J.L. Bird. Bird made it possible to present moving and living pictures of men and events on the screen. In those days, it was only in monochrome, black and white. The color television became popular in the 1970s. Its vast potentialities as a powerful medium of mass communication cannot be underestimated. It is indeed one of the best sources of entertainment and enlightenment for all. Programs on subjects like health and hygiene, nutrition, family planning, and agriculture are of immense help to men and women, especially in rural areas. The television plays a very significant role in educating the farmers on the use of different kinds of fertilizers and pesticides and new methods of cultivation. In addition to giving villagers professional guidance, the television can present a whole variety of cultural programs as well. Man is born in the stream of culture. The invention of the television has enabled him to enjoy and see with his own eyes the cultures of different people living in different communities. The television, which was invented by Jailbird, is considered as one of the miracles of science. Now, can you read the first paragraph and tell me why television is considered as a magic carpet? Here is an opinion. Let's watch the video.
We say that the TV is a magic carpet because it can be used for many useful, productive, positive and entertaining things. A TV can be used for educational purpose, may it be academic or the education of people over current technology and advancements. It can be used for entertainment for all ages. It is one of the biggest sources of mass communication and is often used to deliver messages or speeches to a large audience.
In the beginning, television was only in monochrome, that is, in black and white colors. The color television became popular in the 1970s. Now, read the second and third paragraphs and identify how television was helpful to the people in rural areas as well as farmers. This video will help you.
The farmers in the rural areas are educated about the fertilizer and pesticides for this usage. It also showcases different and new types of cultivation. TV is a medium of education for people in rural areas over the topics like health and hygiene, nutrition, family planning, and agriculture.
Yes, television is always a source of entertainment to all of us. There are various programs that are telecasted in a television. The list of programs goes on. The programs on health and hygiene, nutrition, educational programs, sports programs, etc. And along with this, we know that television also educates the farmers. It helps them to educate and gives them better ideas about new techniques in farming. When you have read the second and third paragraphs, you might have come across some difficult words, right? Look at these sentences. As we all know, television is helpful to propagate culture. But how is it possible? Yes, very good. Television helps us to witness and understand different cultures of people who belongs to different communities. വിവിധ ഭാഷകളിലും സംസ്കാരത്തിലും ജീവിക്കുന്ന വ്യക്തികളെക്കുറിച്ച് കൂടുതൽ മനസ്സിലാക്കാനും അവ എന്താണെന്ന് അറിയാനും അവയെ ബഹുമാനിക്കാനും ടെലിവിഷനിലൂടെ നമുക്ക് സാധിക്കുന്നു. Now, let us read the remaining part of the chapter. The medium of audio-visual communication has a very powerful appeal. It can therefore be used for educational purposes also. Lessons on science, mathematics, geography, and other disciplines are often telecast. In order to educate the public, more programs on traffic rules, health and hygiene, law and order problems, etc. are also to be included. The TV programs usually deal with many other subjects and topics of current importance. A man, after a day's hard work, may switch on his television set and derive immense pleasure. He feels greatly relieved after the day's fatigue. The television mainly does four things: entertain, educate, influence, inform. Reading this paragraph, now can you list some TV programs that you might have seen in your television? Yes, these TV programs can be categorized under four headings. The first one could be entertainment programs. Second one is educational programs. Third one is informative programs. And the last one is influential programs. Now, in your textbook, in page number 84, there is a table provided to you and you can see two columns there. In the second column, the purpose of the programs are listed. That is entertainment, education, influential and informative. Okay, now in the first column, you have to list the programs that comes under each of these purposes and complete this activity in your textbook itself. Dear children, from this particular chapter we have understood that television helps us in different ways. But just think about our television. Do you think that television has only advantages? Are there any disadvantages for television? ഒരു ടെലിവിഷൻ കാണുന്നത് കൊണ്ട് ഗുണങ്ങൾ മാത്രമാണോ ഉള്ളത്? എന്തെങ്കിലും ദോഷവശങ്ങളുണ്ടോ ഇതിന്? Just think about it. Now, look at the second activity given in your textbook. In page number 85, activity number 2, there are two columns provided to you. In the first column, you can see two advantages that have already noted there, and in the second column, you can see some disadvantages. So, you have to complete this activity by noting some advantages and disadvantages of watching television. Page number 85, activity 3, a short description of jailbird's life, work, career, etc. is given. After going through this description, you are supposed to write a profile of Jailbird, the inventor of the television. Jailbird, born August 13, 1888. Place, Helensburgh, Scotland. Education, Lomond School, University of Strathclyde. First World War interrupted his studies. Occupation, Superintendent Engineer, Side Valley Electrical Power Company. Invention, in February 1924, first transmission of a semi-mechanical analog television system. In 1927, set up the Wire Television Development Company Limited. From 1929 to 1935, the BBC telecast programs using the 30-line bed system. Death, 1946. Dear students, now you are supposed to write a profile of Jailbird, the inventor of the television, using the hints given here. You can write the answer in your notebook and don't forget to share it with your teacher. My dear ones, in today's class, we had just started with the primitive method of communication. Then we came across Pony Express, radio and television. In the coming classes also, you will come across the most modern ways of communication. So you can read and understand the most modern technologies that are available to each one of us. With this, we are winding up today's class. All of you stay safe at your home and enjoy your school life. Take care.